What's up, guys? We're live. Welcome to episode number 50. It's going to be a great episode, a powerful episode. It's going to be a unique episode, a little bit different. We're not going to be talking as much about business finance and funding and entrepreneurship and all the different ways to grow your business, but there is something important to be said about what you can learn from guys like Tom Brady, right? And some of the best professional athletes. You'll see a lot of entrepreneurs who really study professional athletes and even owners and coaches because there's so much to learn from these guys. What are your thoughts on that, Ty?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to learn and there's a lot to strive for. I think having them as role models, as long as they're the right ones, is a very important thing in life. Like for me, I was named after Ty Detmer. Now, a lot of you may not know who Ty Detmer is, but he's the only quarterback out of BYU, and we've had a lot of really good quarterbacks out of Brigham Young University, but he won the Heisman. And I was born shortly after he won the Heisman, and so they named me Ty. And it's been awesome to follow him and watch his achievements and see the things that he did and follow his work ethic. And I feel like, because he's my namesake, I've got to strive for that as well. And that's why I named my boys Jack Nicklaus, and Tom, after Tom Brady. So,
dude, Ty, I still remember that season very well. I was like 11, 12 years old, and their first game of the season was against number 1 Miami Hurricanes. And back in the day, like Miami Hurricanes, like they were the team. Everybody was all about how can we beat Miami, right?
Yeah.
And or was it Florida State? Jeez, I can't remember.
No,
it was Miami, wasn't it?
The real you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, it was. And then they played Florida State, I think, after that. But yeah, they played exceptionally well. Won that game 28-21. And the thing I like about Ty, he was a good scrambler. Like he would scramble back and forth, had a huge year. Everybody agreed. He put up numbers that no one had ever seen up to that point. And then the other thing about him, he didn't start a lot in the NFL, but he had a very long career.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was 14, 15 years, and he helped some of the great quarterbacks. He helped Brett Favre become a really good quarterback. He helped Michael Vick become a good quarterback. Like, he backed up some really good guys, and he taught them because he had a great mind. And so, yeah, there is a lot, I think, that you can learn from people who are achieving at the highest levels of success within their space, their industry and profession. And so when it comes to professional athletes, to teams, there's no – and that's what business is. Business is a team sport. And even more unique, I think, than – basketball and baseball is NFL, you really have to be good as a team. The team with the best player doesn't always win in the NFL. That's not true. The team with the best player in basketball might win. You have a Michael Jordan. He can make a team that much better all by himself. But in football, you're one of 22 people that could be playing on offense and defense at any given time. Like, it is a complete team sport, and that's what business is. Business, I could be really good, you can be really good, but if we don't have a great team, we're going nowhere. If we don't have values and principles, if there isn't great coaching behind the scenes, then you're going nowhere. So today, we want to really dig deep. We've got the NFL season that kicks off tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, our time. And it's starting. So we're going to go through and look at what are these teams doing to get better, who has values and principles of success, which coaches are doing the best job, which teams, which quarterbacks, which offensive lines. We're going to unpack this and grade this out, and we're going to talk about it in terms of why they're succeeding, and there are a lot of parallels to why the most successful NFL teams succeed in coaches and players, and the same is true in business. So if you don't love football, you should, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Amen. Not only that. Sorry, I'm touching things I'm not supposed to. If you didn't notice, we're out of our studio right here. We're actually going to be remodeling it, so we're just posting up in a conference room here. So hopefully it sounds and looks okay. And I'm already touching the mouse and messing up our stream here, Leo. But I definitely agree with what you said. There's a lot to learn about sports and teamwork and how important that is in business. And on top of that, to add to that, competition. Right?
Yes.
You have to compete, right? We all have competitors, and the only thing with a little bit different in business is we all can kind of win in a sense, but there is always going to be that business that's achieving on a higher level, and they're being rewarded significantly more for it. So competition is a huge thing that we can learn from sports.
And in today's world, I feel like competition is looked upon negatively, and oh, it might hurt someone's mental health if they have to compete and really bring it, and everybody gets a participation trophy, and that doesn't happen in business. If you don't get the job done, you're going to get replaced. If you don't give everything you have and get better in your career and your profession, you'll lose your job. Just as simple as that. If we don't bring, as business owners, our business will take a dip, will flatline, and someone else will take our place. And that's the reality of life. And so anybody that has this mentality that, competition is bad, well, competition is great. It brings out the best in us, and you can see it on full display in sports, and it's super important to understand in business.
All right, well, let's go ahead. We're gonna cut to a screen here where we're gonna break down all the 32 NFL teams and where we believe they are going to fall from a win standpoint this season. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start down at the bottom. We're gonna start with our teams that we think will get either 0 wins, 1 win, 2 win, or 3 wins. And it's obviously the NFL's very, very competitive. You've got, at the end of the day, 53 of the greatest football players in the world on all of these teams. And so that is what I love about the NFL as opposed to college. Like Utah State can go play Alabama 50 times and they will not get within 20 points once. But that can't happen in the NFL. And it never happens in the NFL. The worst team in the league can still compete with the best team any given Sunday. But that being said, to dive into this, Leo, I have 3 different teams that I put in that 0 to 3 win category.
Okay.
We're going to start out with the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
They are falling apart. They got rid of their coach. J.J. Watt retires. Kyler Murray's hurt. DeAndre Hopkins decides to leave town. Their best running back they have is James Conner, and I'm sorry, he's a effort guy. He's always going to give you his best. He beat cancer. I love his story, but
great story.
He's not a top tier running back in the NFL. And
who is Kyler throwing the ball to this year?
No one. Like they're not.
And then he's been a guy who's worked hard. He has tremendous talent, but I almost feel too in the offseason like he was a guy who felt he just deserved things.
Yeah.
And through this fit, and they gave him a contract, and now the coach who actually drafted him and brought him in to work in his offense, now he's not even there.
Yeah. He's a unique style of quarterback, and I feel like Cliff Kingsbury kind of knows how to work with him, but
100%.
I don't see it working out for the Cardinals.
I don't either.
Cardinals fans.
And what's interesting? You can look at this team, and from a business perspective, up at the top, ownership and management, they're not getting the job done, and they haven't gotten the job done in a long time. And the last time I feel like they were really good, and correct me if I'm wrong, was maybe in the Kurt Warner days when they had that amazing run and they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Steelers in the very last seconds. What a great Super Bowl that was.
Yeah.
But have they done anything since?
They, with what's his name, the USC quarterback, and
Matt Leinart.
Was it Leinart or Carson Palmer?
Oh,
Carson
Palmer.
Palmer
You're right.
There
it is. You're right. In fact, they made it the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
With Carson. And Tampa Bay's old coach was the coach for Arizona when they had that resurrection.
Is it Bruce
season.
Arians?
Yes, Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, right. So that was the last time they did. But since then, they tried to fix things. And so from the top up, something's missing.
Yeah. And they've had some really good rosters. So it's
They've
like
had
you
talent.
said, it's leadership. Yeah. So next on the list here of teams that I feel will fall into the 0 to 3 win category, we've got the LA Rams. And
really,
this one, they have 4 or 5 players that they are starting. They literally will start, and they were undrafted free agent rookies because of a financial issue. They literally did whatever they had to do to go get that Super Bowl, knowing that
that's right.
These next few years they're hosed. Like they still have Cooper Kupp. They still have, who's that quarterback from the Lions? What's his name?
Matt.
Yeah, they still have Matt. They have some talent. Sean McVay, I do think, is a fantastic coach. I don't think the Rams are going to suck long term. I think they did whatever they had to do to go get that Super Bowl, and now it's time to rebuild. Aaron Donald's probably maybe if he even finishes this season. I think he's done after this year.
It seemed like mentally he was kind of done last year, but I think he still played pretty well when he came in. Yeah, they just were depleted by injury so badly last year. Who else is playing receiver with Kupp?
I believe they have Van Jefferson, who can be okay, but obviously OBJ's gone. Cam Akers is back. Apparently he's looking okay this offseason. Sony Michel retired.
Oh, that's right. That was kind of a big hit. I mean, that's a Super Bowl winning guy with the Patriots and the Rams. So
yeah, and apparently their rookie running back, like Kyrell I can't remember his name. I was listening. They were talking about him the other day. He's having a really good preseason.
Didn't BYU's top receiver get drafted by the Rams?
Was that this year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the dude's name? Puka
Nacua.
Puka Nacua. Yeah, he's on the Rams, and I think he's had a pretty good training camp. I was reading an article about him. Interestingly enough, the other day, Jonas and I, my 11-year-old, we were out practicing football at our high school football field, and one of the Rams' defensive tackles shows up at that. I want to say his name was Jake or something?
I
don't know. Whatever his name, he's a defensive tackle. He's been on the team the last couple of years. He won the Super Bowl with him too. And I asked him, hey, how's Stafford looking? Hey, Stafford's healthy. How's Kupp looking? Kupp's healthy. How's the team looking? Oh, we're going to be back where we should. That's his, he's there. That's what he thinks is going to happen. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be a 6 to 8 win team.
Yeah.
So they're not going to the playoffs, in my opinion, but I think they're better because Sean McVay's a great coach. They're 2 years removed from a Super Bowl. Stafford is a great quarterback. Kupp is a great leader. They still have Aaron Donald, who's still looked at as one of the top guys on the defensive side of the ball. So I think they do better, but I agree. I don't see them as a playoff team.
I don't think they're going to have a problem scoring points if Stafford and Kupp stay healthy, which they've struggled to do their whole career.
They both have, no question.
I mean, we'll see. They'll score points, but I'm sorry, when you have two starting linebackers that literally didn't even get drafted. They weren't even projected good enough to get drafted. They have someone in their secondary that wasn't good enough to get drafted. They're taking people who were good in college that couldn't quite make it in the NFL, and they're starting, not just making the 53-man roster. They're starting. So I don't think they're going to stop many people on defense.
You're right. That's the problem. Their defense is going to give up 25-plus points a game, and you just can't win in the league that way.
The next one here, Leo, which is, in my opinion, 100% an ownership problem, is we've got the Colts. The Colts will be lucky to get 2 wins, and that's coming from a team that gets to play Houston a couple times. We'll see. I mean, you look at the Colts, Gardner Minshew, I guess, is set as of now, the starting quarterback, but they're saying they plan to have Richardson take over at some
Mr. Mustachio.
Yeah, and he's okay. They've got Pittman, they've got Jonathan Taylor, who may not even play. I guess Jonathan Taylor just asked for a trade, and Jim Irsay made some. If I die and you die, the NFL doesn't care. They're going to move on, and you're never going anywhere type. It was really weird and uncomfortable and awkward. But
dude, what are your thoughts on Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts?
I think he's out of control.
I think he's lost his mind.
Yeah.
And have you seen the last year or two, like the Colts did this really big national campaign push about mental health and hey, that's cool and that's great and that's helpful, but you are what you focus on. I feel like he's focusing on all the weirdest shit possible, and their team is suffering. I mean, they had a decent coach there. I think Jim Wright, is that his name? Frank Wright. Frank Wright backed up Jim Kelly, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, working with Doug Peterson. I mean, this is a quality coach who's been in the league, very knowledgeable. And again, I feel like leadership up top is letting him down in terms of personnel, in terms of values and principles. Let's focus on our mental health and not actually focus on the team so we can win. I mean, just different things like that I think they're missing the boat on.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Irsay went and they had a decent roster last year. They had a talented roster.
They did.
He goes and gets him Matty Ice, a very old, washed up Matty Ice, and says, "Go win a Super Bowl." Well, I'm sorry, but you're not. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, I'm putting the Colts in that 0-3 win category, and that's where we stop with that category.
I think they're going to be down for the 3-4 years.
Yeah,
I don't see them going anywhere.
Yeah, it's brutal. I don't see that quarterback really working out for
I
them
don't
either.
I don't either. Dude,
So-
he almost had like the same amount of picks as touchdowns last year. And that was supposed to be his breakout year. Like, he doesn't have this long history of he's an unbelievable athlete, but that doesn't make you an unbelievable quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy here was not an unbelievable athlete, but he's the best quarterback of all time. So
Yeah, I mean, we see it time and time again. They draft these freak athletes thinking they can convert them, and I feel like it works out way less frequently than it works. I mean, the only one that comes to mind that I think about, oh yeah, that was totally a good call, was Josh Allen. I didn't see that one. Like, he didn't
either.
have great stats at Wyoming. They kind of did Carson Wentz, same thing, and he had a good year too, but couldn't make it in the league. Trey Lance, same thing. Jamarcus Russell, right? I just don't see it.
No.
So that's where we're gonna stop there on the 0-3 wins. The 4-6 win teams. Let's get started here. The first one we're gonna dive to is where are they? I can't seem to find them on this list.
You know, I will say, like, in terms of really athletic quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, but even in college, he threw the ball really well.
Yeah,
I mean, he was right there as a Heisman Trophy winner, not just because he ran the ball well, but he threw the ball well. And when he had an MVP season, clearly he proved that out. So, yeah. But when you don't throw the ball well in college, I don't see how you're ever going to throw the ball well in NFL. And I think, again, the only exception to that rule, Josh Allen, because he just didn't have anyone to throw it to. He's at the University of Wyoming. Of course he didn't have anyone to throw it to.
yeah. I mean, even RG3, the league caught on, right?
Very true.
So the first 4-6 win team we're gonna dive into here is the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I like the Packers. I think they have a really, really good coach. I think they have really good ownership. They've been really good for a long time, and that goes beyond Aaron Rodgers. All you Aaron Rodgers lovers, I'm sorry. It goes well beyond Aaron Rodgers. But with Aaron Rodgers' departure, obviously Lazard's out of town. You've got some really young wide receivers. You're still really set at the running back position. Even though I'm a Utah guy, I'm a BYU fan. I never root for the Utes. I'm sorry, Leo, but I definitely am always cheering for Utah State, and I love their players. Loved watching Robert Turbin and Bobby Wagner.
Oh,
but
yeah, I love those
guys.
guys.
Jordan Love is not the guy. No. He's not going to make it. He's never going to be a top even 15 quarterback, in my opinion.
He's not even going to be top 25, bro.
No, he's not the guy. And their O-line's getting healthy. I think they're going to get some wins just because, like I said, they're well coached and they're really stout at running back, and their O-line's all right. But I see them maybe 6 wins.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah,
if that. And I would say that Love reminds me a lot of a Jameis Winston, a guy with an incredible arm, super talented, but not a guy who makes great decisions. His last year in college, again, I think he had almost as many picks as touchdowns. He was very inconsistent. He would throw into double coverage all the time just because he thought he had the arm. He could squeeze things in there. And if he's not doing that in college, he's surely not doing that in the NFL. And I hope he learned and studied under Aaron Rodgers as much as possible. But again, the weapons aren't there. Great coach, great ownership. I mean, they've been good for 3 decades.
Yeah.
They've been good for 3 decades. So they're doing something right in that organization. I don't see Love as being the solution for them at quarterback, though.
No. And right next to him, don't worry, Packers fans, you're not alone. The ultimate rival Bears are right there with you.
Oh,
now, the Bears are a team, Leo, that I say within the next year or two, they're going to be they're a force to reckon with. I think they've got a lot of really good young talent. They've done a good job with some of their trades and their draft picks lately. I really like Justin Fields. He's proven over the last year that he can be a very productive quarterback. They brought in Claypool from the Steelers. They brought in DJ Moore, right? They gave up their first pick to bring in Moore.
Good receiver.
I think their starting running back, who is that going to be? DeAndre Swift this year is my guess. They're a pretty talented team. They've got some talent on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're too young to really make a splash right away, and it's a first-year coach, so give them a year to get some things figured out.
There's the running backs there. The one thing I'll say about Justin Fields is, man, that kid's an incredible athlete. In fact, I think you have to say he's the most athletic quarterback in the NFL. And in college, he threw the ball really well, actually. He threw the ball well, and I feel like he just doesn't quite have the talent there. And he's so talented himself that he just, hey, I can run 95 yards and score a touchdown. And so a different guy.
I did mess that up. Swift went to the Eagles.
Okay, there
even
it is.
scarier.
There
but
it is.
yeah, Foreman.
The Eagles. Don't get me started with the Eagles.
We'll get to them. But yeah, I want to say Fields put up nearly 200 yards rushing against the Dolphins last year, like that.
I mean, he's an exceptional athlete, and I don't think they had an exceptional offensive line last year at all. So
no. Now this one might surprise some of you, not putting them in that 0 to 3 win category. But the reason I'm not putting them in that category is because of who they get to play in the NFC South. It is such a pitiful division that they'll eke out 4 wins just within that division. So I do like what they're doing there. I think Bryce Young is one that will convert well to the NFL.
He reminds me of Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I mean, very similar size and just so smart.
Yeah.
Such a smart guy.
Yeah, one of his players on NFL radio the other day compared him to Tom Brady, and I kind of was wondering what on earth he was doing
Drew
with
Brees.
that. I
Drew
was
Brees.
like, that doesn't make
He's
any
about
sense
a 6
whatsoever.
foot. He's a 6 foot quarterback. He's not an exceptional athlete, but he's so smart, and he can throw the mid-range balls, and he has great anticipation and great timing. He can read defenses. He played with, obviously maybe the top college football coach of all time there in Nick Saban. He's a leader. He leads. He's clutch. He executes down the stretch, which you have to do to be a good NFL quarterback. So I see potential there. And again, it depends on how much talent he's got around him to make him better. But they do have some talent. They do have some talent there.
Yeah, and I've got a kid that I coached in Little League, and then 1 year in his sophomore year in high school starts for the Panthers. Brady Christensen.
Very cool.
I'm always watching and rooting for them. I'm going to go through these next few a little bit quicker for time's sake, and that way we can spend a little bit more time on the teams here at the top of the chart. But next on the list, we've got the Commanders, and this is another one that I was tempted to go down here just because of what they're doing at quarterback. They do have some weapons. Terry McLaurin. They've got Brian Robinson at running back. They're a talented team. They are well coached. They're definitely a well coached team, but they don't. What's his name? They're going with at quarterback. Is it Sam? Oh man,
Howell.
Sam Howell. Yeah. What are you doing? Why is that your best option at quarterback? They should have kept what was that hustler?
I loved that kid last year.
Oh, what was his name? He was awesome. And nobody knew who he was.
Heineke.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke.
I loved that kid. He came on. He reminded me of like a Tom Brady type. He wasn't hyped up in college or in the draft, but he got better. He was a leader. The fans loved him. He did not have a bad year. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to go with Sam Howell. Is that someone they drafted or?
Yeah. He was the North Carolina guy, pretty sure.
22 years. Yeah, okay, so he was just barely drafted. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
He's 6'1", 220. Did he do well in North Carolina or what?
Yeah, he had a good college career, but he was playing some.
Looks like a pretty strong guy.
ACC teams. I just
6'1", 220.
And he may pan out. It just won't be this year.
So he's a 5th round pick. I don't know, dude. It just seems like you're just rolling the dice and hey, maybe we're gonna get sevens, bro. Wait, we're playing craps. Oh, that's not gonna work out.
Yeah,
that's what
it's no good. And then let's see here. Next on the list,
the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this is another one.
Dude, Josh better get his shit together.
Yeah,
he's turning into Denver 2.0. And you know what's interesting? There's got to be something to be said about the fact that a Bill Belichick does not have a stable of successful assistant coaches who have become great head coaches in the NFL. Even Vrabel, I mean, he wasn't actually a coach; he was a player for the Patriots. So I guess you can kind of give Belichick a little bit of credit. But the rest of his assistants have
Patricia
not. Patricia was a nightmare. Charlie Weiss, a failure there, and I guess he had a good run for a year at Notre Dame with Brady Quinn. That was it, but yeah.
Yeah, the Raiders. I mean, Jimmy G, if he actually plays and gets healthy, he'll get you a few wins. You've got you know, a good running back. You still have Devontae Adams, so you'll eke out a few wins.
Dude,
but
Jimmy
no
G,
more than 6.
he is a winner, though.
Yeah.
And the 49ers were playing well with him, and we talked about that last year. I mean, he is a winner, so. But.
All right, Leo, I'm sorry to do this one to you.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Here are your boys.
There it is.
They're going to be 6 wins. They're on the good end of the 4 to 6 category, but I think they're a 6-win team. Again, it's a really, really bad division, so they'll eke out a few there, but we don't even know if Alvin Kamara is playing or how long
he's going to miss some
suspended.
time. There's no question he's going to miss some time. He's meeting with Goodell, I think, this week.
Yeah, I don't know how well coached they are since Sean Payton left.
Yeah, I'm not quite a fan of Dennis Allen. I believe he's the head coach. Great defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're wonderful coordinators, but they don't become great head coaches. And throughout his career, I think this is like his 3rd chance as a head coach, I want to say. He had a chance with the Raiders and someone else, but he's never done exceptionally well as a head coach. Their offense seemed to really struggle last year at times. Derek Carr seems like an upgrade from what was the dude's name? Red-haired dude?
Well, Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton.
Oh, yeah. He seems like an upgrade, but, I mean, he didn't have a great year either. So
I categorize him with Andy Dalton. I think he's a good Dalton replacement, maybe slightly better.
He's got a better arm, but he actually can't make the same touch throws, and I feel like his anticipation isn't always good. He thinks he can just fit stuff in there. Olave, wonderful wide receiver. I don't know who else you got there.
Maybe Michael Thomas, right? He might.
I guess that's your X factor.
Come back.
Don't even say Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to even hear.
On to the next one. This one's the opposite of the 4 to 6. They're on the 4-win range for me, but the Texans.
Okay.
Again, they're really young, a lot of young talent. I think they're doing the right things. They brought in. I'm so bad with names. I like know all these names and then I get put on the spot and I can't remember it.
I know, it's tough to actually remember when
the D coordinator from the 49ers. He was a great NFL linebacker, I believe, but he's the head coach of the Texans. Apparently,
DeMeco Ryans.
That's
a bad man.
Yeah,
that's a bad man. He's a man. Oh, you look at him. He's still in. He could go play football right now.
Apparently, their culture is awesome. C.J. Stroud's looking pretty good.
I'm glad he got a shot. I'm interested to see how they do.
I kind of want to see the Texans.
I think he's a good leader, and clearly, I mean, obviously, 49ers defense didn't miss a step after Saleh left to the Jets. DeMeco stepped in and kicked butt for the 49ers. So I think he's going to be.
I mean, they'll at least get to play the Colts twice. They should get a
Who's
couple
their quarterback?
C.J. Stroud, that Ohio State kid.
I always liked him.
Yeah,
I liked him.
He looked really good in that playoff game.
I thought he was an exceptional quarterback, and I know he had probably the best wide receivers in college football, but I don't know. He operated well. He found the open man. He read defenses well. He anticipates well. I think he's going to be a surprise. I think he could be a potential rookie of the year guy come out of nowhere.
Yep, I totally agree. All right, this one might surprise a lot of you because it surprises me. But when you break it down, you really look at the schedule. Leo, I think the Patriots are a good team. I think they brought in a lot of talent, some sneaky talent that people don't realize that fill a lot of holes they had in their roster last year with, they got Juju Smith-Schuster, they got Mike Gesicki from Miami. Like they actually have an offensive coordinator now with Bill O'Brien.
Okay.
That's
the former Texans head coach,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Yes. So
he's been a Patriots guy. So another example of a failed assistant trying to be a head coach. But hey, he can come back and work for Bill.
Exactly. And the only reason I'm putting them right here is because of the strength of schedule. They have to play Miami twice. They have to play Buffalo twice. They have to play the Jets twice.
That's
outside
tough.
of that. Guess
rough.
what? The AFC East gets to play the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, right?
Oh,
We drew that division. So, again, I think the Patriots are going to be the best 6-win team we've seen in a really long time, but that's where I see them ending up. And then I had one more here. Yes. Again, I think this Buccaneers team is the quality to be maybe a 3-win team, but because they're in that NFC South, they'll pick up a few wins. See what our boy Baker Mayfield can do.
Baker.
I think it's going to be a brutal year for the Bucs.
You still got Mike Evans and Godwin there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. But
Boy, they had a rough year last year.
you're saying Kyle Trask is even competing for that spot. So we'll see. Moving on to the 7 and 9 teams. All right, Casey, let's hear it. Chirp, 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 chirp. Here we go. The Cowboys will be lucky to be a 9-win team. Again,
Wait, what did they make? They made it to the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah, they lost to the Giants.
Yeah. What was their record last year?
I think they had 10 or 11 wins last year, but again, it's a massive ownership problem. You're handcuffed by your owner
word.
again
Jerry
and again
Jones.
and again. And
12-5.
12 wins.
12-5.
Okay.
They had a pretty damn good year in terms of their win-loss record. And then they were like blaming whatever their problems were on Kellen Moore.
Literally, I was about to talk about that. They were scoring more points than anyone. Like, they had some of the highest rated offensive statistics. Like, they were scoring a ton of points, but they were like, oh, our offense was scoring too quickly. Like, what? Your offense is scoring too quickly? Then figure it out on defense, right? Get a few stops. You've got some really, really talented players on defense. Their defense may have even gotten better. They went and got Steph Gilmore opposite of Diggs. They've got Parsons. Like, they're a very talented roster, but they're handcuffed by ownership, and I put them in that 9-win category this year. They'll lose to the Eagles twice.
For sure.
They're honestly, the Lions are better than them. I think the Lions are definitely a better team coming out of the NFC. The 49ers are a better team. They're probably comparable to something
The
like
Giants
the
are still a tough team, too.
Yeah,
Giants will compete.
Giants are definitely a tough team. So, sorry, Casey, but that's where I put your Cowboys.
Have you looked at their schedule? Do they have a pretty tough schedule?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay.
They definitely have a tough schedule. All right, next up on this 7-9 win, I'm going with the Steelers, which I believe
I'm going to give them 9 wins, bro. Because Coach Tomlin has never had a losing season, which is mind-boggling because I can't even remember the last time he had a talented team.
Yeah.
And I still don't think they have a talented team. Am I wrong?
I mean, his last really talented team obviously was Le'Veon Bell and Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown before he went crazy. Like,
he had a tough time. Jeez, Brown lost his mind. Le'Veon Bell lost his mind and thought he was like a special guy, and then his career's just downward spiral. So even when he had talented guys, they just went insane. But he's a great leader of men. I haven't heard one kid that ever played for a player who ever had anything but good things to say about him.
Yeah. I think the Steelers
their ownership is.
Yeah,
Maybe they're getting old. I don't know.
I think the Steelers are doing a lot of good things. They had kind of like we said with the Packers. They've been so good for so long. It was time for a rebuild. I think Pickett needs another year or two, and that we'll see if that Najee Harris can have a rebound year. Pickens is awesome. Pat Freiermuth is awesome. They definitely have some talent, and I think they're going to figure it out.
I don't know if he pulls 9 wins out again. What a great coach.
Yeah,
to not ever have a losing season and. How many years is he? I mean, he's
I bet he's 20, right? I mean, not only that, but this year he's got to play the Ravens twice. He's got to play the Browns twice. He's got to play the Bengals twice. It's a doozy of a schedule there. Next on the 7-9 win category, we've got the Seattle Seahawks. Extremely well coached, great ownership. I'm sorry, but I think their quarterback's going to have quite the drop off. I think Geno Smith kind of had a fluke freak season. Granted, he does have some very talented wide receivers. Kenneth Walker was arguably one of the top rookies in the NFL, so we'll see what happens there. But I do think the Seahawks are going to kind of cool off a little bit, and those rookies that just absolutely went off are going to have some sophomore woes and wake-up calls, and they'll lose to the 49ers a couple times. They'll probably beat the Rams, but the reason I put
They'll
them
probably
in the
beat the
9-win
Cardinals too.
Exactly.
So, that gives them 4 wins there, and then it depends what the rest. But yeah, they're probably an 8-9 win team.
Yeah. All right.
But I was impressed with Geno. I mean, to lose your starting job years ago and come back and play as well as he did. I mean, props to him.
Yeah. Hey man, I loved what he did. I don't see it happening again. The next 7-9 win category team we have is the Minnesota Vikings. After watching the quarterback, I love Kirk Cousins. I really want the best for Kirk Cousins and his team, but
I like their head coach too. But I mean, bro, When you're winning every game by like 1 or 2 points last year, and now you come back and you lost some of your talent,
You lost Adam
it's going to
Thielen.
be tough.
You lost Dalvin Cook, and the person replacing Adam Thielen is going 125 miles an hour on the freeway to get his dog to the vet and getting in trouble. So
Got to save your dog, bro.
yeah. I mean, I just don't see the Vikings pulling out those wins like they did. Therefore, they're a 9-win, maybe 8-9 win.
And they're going to lose to Detroit twice.
Yeah, yep.
But they are in a weak division. I guess it depends. I mean, it's always tough in your division. I mean, Green Bay will play them tough. Chicago would play them tough. So
I think Chicago's going to be sneaky.
I think you're right. I think they're an 8-9 win team.
Next 7, not a 9-win, not an 8-win, a 7-win team, and that's only because they're going to beat the Bucks twice, and they're going to beat the Saints once, and they're going to beat the Panthers twice. Is you've got the Falcons. Bijan Robinson is going to be the rookie of the year if he stays healthy. They've beefed up their O-line. They have some good, decent young receivers. Their defense looks okay. It's all, I mean, Desmond Ridder, they're going with at quarterback, which I actually really like the guy. I think he was one of the better rookie QBs last year. So I definitely like their management. I like their coach. I think the Falcons will be able to pull out 7, 8 wins.
All right, here's a weird one. Remember that the backup for the Raiders who came in and played really well? Did they get rid of him?
Yeah.
Why?
I
It's like the Heineke thing with Washington. Like when a guy comes in and plays, why would you get rid of him? Why wouldn't you give him a shot? I don't get it.
Yeah, there had to have been some off-field stuff going on there.
Something.
Which there's his old team right here that drafted him, the Tennessee Titans. They're in that 7 to 9 win range. I love Ryan Tannehill. They went and got DeAndre Hopkins. They still have Derrick Henry. Vrabel's a good coach, but
He's a good coach.
the thing with this is, they get to play the Colts twice. Yeah, they get to play the Texans twice.
Yeah,
I
that
think
helps.
they lose both games to the Jaguars. I just don't see the Titans. I don't think they're good enough to really go make a playoff run. I think they're a very middle-of-the-pack talent team.
I don't think their offense is good enough.
No. All right, moving on here. The Broncos, where are they?
Oh, you're giving
There
them
you
a Sean Payton seal of approval there. Huh?
Yeah, the only I almost put them even higher, but they lost
They could go higher.
2 wide receivers in the preseason already.
Oh,
So
man, that's right. They had a rough.
yeah, one had a heart issue and retired. The other one tore his Achilles, and sadly, I think Tim Patrick is done.
How old was the one that had the heart issue?
He's a bit younger. Hamler, I think was his name. But so we've got the Cowboys there. I love what Sean Payton's doing. I think that
Dude's a winner.
yeah, absolutely. They're going to get things.
And you
figured
know
out
what I
there.
like about him? He's going to make everybody accountable.
Oh yeah,
There's none of this bullshit of, coulda, shoulda, woulda, and it's someone else's fault. No, he'll just be so blunt and just point him in the eye, dude. And then he's gonna make Russell Wilson a good leader again.
yep, exactly. I think Russell Wilson's going to have an awesome year. And I love that tight end. That tight end out of UCLA had a good rookie year. I think he's going to absolutely go off this year.
And the defense had a great year last year.
absolutely.
I mean, they kept them in games. They kept them in games all throughout.
And I want to say they brought Vance Joseph back. I'm pretty sure he's that D coordinator again. Next in the 7 to 9 win category, we actually had a lot here. We've got the New York Giants. Again, I like Daniel Jones, but he's a 7 to 9 win quarterback. I'm sorry,
yeah.
he's not the QB that's ever going to go get you the Super Bowl. If you're going to win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones, you need to have the best defense in the NFL and some awesome weapons. And Saquon's great, but outside of Saquon, I don't like anyone on their offense, and their defense is just okay.
I can't even remember anyone on their offense. Can you?
I mean, Kadarius Toney came to mind, but
Okay.
he got sent off
he
to
left.
the Chiefs. So no.
It's always, the guy that's memorable that did well. Oh, you get rid of him. Sure,
Yeah,
makes sense.
Their wide receivers were just always getting hurt. Next here to the Giants, we've got the Browns, and I think again this is a team with the roster to be a 10 to 12 win team, but I think they're going to struggle because they've got to play the Bengals twice, they've got to play the Ravens twice, and they've got to play the Steelers twice, and the Steelers always play them tough. So I think the Browns are right here. I do think Deshaun Watson's going to have a much better season than the last 6 games last year. But again, I think
Dude, if you can hand the ball off to Nick Chubb, I mean, that dude is just an incredible running back every year.
He is.
In fact, I put him right up there at the top with Saquon. Pay that man.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right, is Deshaun Watson really going to have a good year, you think?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I think he'll have
I don't know,
good year.
dude. I almost wonder when you have like 22 people say that you were inappropriate with them with your little massage thing. I wonder, sometimes it feels like karma just punishes people. So I'm curious. And hey, you know, you're innocent till proven guilty, but 22, that's a lot of women saying things are not cool. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Was it consensual, though?
22 women.
All right.
Sometimes there's a bandwagon effect. Who knows?
Exactly.
So.
It's illegal but consensual. I don't know what that means. But all right, regardless.
Jillian, you're going to help us out.
Here's my first hot take of the day. I think everyone can kind of agree with this. The only one that maybe people disagree with is going like that and like this, moving the Pats up and the Falcons down. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
I'd be okay with that,
However,
sure.
here we go, people. 9-win New York Jets.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know you hate this. There's way too much hype. There's way too much publicity. They're in the best division in all of football. Outside of that, like I said, the AFC East is going to have to face the NFC North. They're going to have to play.
That's rough.
The Eagles. They're going to. I mean, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And
the
I think
Giants
they
will be
do.
tough.
I think they play the Chiefs. I'm pretty sure they play the Chargers. Like it's going to be pretty tough. And I think Aaron Rodgers he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the greatest of all time. But I'm sorry, buddy, you're too old. It's not happening anymore. The game's moving on. He's still going to have a decent year. He'll be maybe a 10 to 15 category, ranked QB in my opinion. But
Who's their offensive coordinator?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh, that's right.
He's being bullied right now, Leo. We got to keep his name out of our mouths, according to Aaron Rodgers. So,
all right, dude. Sometimes you're a coordinator and you struggle as a head coach, but when you're the offensive guy and you go as a head coach and your offense just struggles mightily the entire year and you don't figure anything out, how do you then pick up a new O coordinator job like that? I don't get it.
Aaron Rodgers hired him, dude. That's what it is. I mean,
I guess.
Yeah. The only I may, if the Dalvin Cook deal goes through, which apparently it might.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I would bump them into the 10 to 12 range because they are a
That'll
little
help.
hurt at running back right now, and that's obviously important in Aaron Rodgers' offense. So I'm going to leave the Jets right there. Sorry, you haters. I know you're not going to like that.
The only X factor is if Cook joins them, then they get a boost.
Yep,
I agree with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who knows where Jadeveon Clowney's going, but next here on,
I don't think he makes a difference.
Yeah,
I don't think he makes a difference.
I'm comfortable leaving him there. I think
Dude,
that division's
I swear,
too tough.
Clowney made one really good play in college, and that got him up to be a top pick because people were just blown away. And he was one of those freak athlete guys, but I don't think he had the commitment. I don't think he has the work ethic.
Yeah. All right, 10 to 12 win teams.
Okay.
First one here, we're going to go with and I actually see them on the 12 win side of this 10 to 12 win range, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Phenomenal coach. I think Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 QB this year, truthfully. I would put money on it. He is a top 5 QB. I love Travis Etienne. I think their defense is doing phenomenal things. That Utah linebacker, Devin Lloyd, I think is going to have a phenomenal year. I really like the Jaguars, and I can see them making a deep playoff run. It would not surprise me.
I love Doug Peterson. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He's a quarterback whisperer. I mean, you look at the difference between Trevor Lawrence the last year and the year before, and they started off slow. They start off on fire this year. Watch out.
Yeah. Next on this list, again, a very similar situation.
Very.
What's his name got paid, so we'll
Herbert,
see. Herbert got paid. We'll see.
I guess the biggest contract in NFL history, I want to say.
Until Burrow gets paid.
Yeah.
So a lot of times those guys get that money and the work ethic goes away though. So we'll see what happens with Herbert. I don't think that's going to happen. I've heard he is very committed, very focused. Austin Eckler's a phenomenal top tier running back. They've got some really good receivers, and aside from Mike Williams and their number one receiver, they went and drafted that TCU Quentin Johnston, who apparently is just looking awesome this
Great
preseason.
athlete, yeah.
So Plus on the defensive side, they've got Bosa, they've got Derwin James. I mean, they're a really good team.
Do you think they challenge the Chiefs this year? I think they do.
I do.
I think they get at least
really
one win
do.
against the Chiefs.
Yep, a split would not surprise me. Next in this category, got the Dolphins. And again, I'm a huge Dolphins fan. I'd love to put them in that 13-15, but I'm trying to be unbiased. And again, because of who they have to play twice, there's those three teams they have to play twice. We have to play the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants. I do think that 10 to 12 wins is the right spot for Miami if they stay completely healthy. I think 13 to 15 wins is doable, but they're not going to stay healthy. That's not a fair statement in the NFL. No team stays healthy. So I think the Dolphins end up right there. But again, if they stay healthy in the right positions, they're another team that could really make a deep playoff push here. And then it looks like I only have one more team in this 10 to 12 win category, and it's the Bills. Bills probably are going to be about as good as they were last year. They didn't really get better. In fact, they probably lost more than they gained. They've got that tight end from Utah, Dalton Kincaid, that I think will make an impact. Dalvin Cook's brother is going to be their starting running back, James Cook, and I don't know that he's RB1 material quite yet. I think he has some growing up to do. It's banking on Josh Allen and Sean McDermott, and we'll see. I think 10
I
to
thought
12.
their offensive line down the stretch played terrible, and I thought their defense was also terrible.
Yeah. I mean, they lost
Like completely.
one of their corners.
Dude, what was it, the third string Miami quarterback? It was third string.
Yeah.
They put up 30 points against him in the round one of the playoffs. And Cincinnati had like their whole offensive line injured, and they went out and kicked their ass. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they ran all over them, and the Bills thought it was a good idea to give a nice fat contract to their big interior defensive linemen. So I don't understand what they're doing. Maybe they've got a management problem, but they have put together a really good roster because of Josh Allen. So
I really thought last year was an opportunity for him to go to the Super Bowl, and boy, how wrong was I?
yeah. You know what? I'm going to make a quick adjustment. I'm going to put one more team right here. I love the Lions. I love what they're doing. They're not quite a 13-win team yet. No. They're a 10 to 12-win team. Jared Goff. I love Dan Campbell. He's probably my favorite coach in the NFL.
Great coach.
I think he is just awesome. Great culture guy. He was the interim coach at Miami for a minute, and I thought he did a fantastic job. The Lions are doing some really good things. If not this year, the next 2-3 years, I think we'll see them in a at least NFC Championship game.
Big props to Jared Goff. I mean, you get traded, the guy who takes your place at the Rams facility wins a Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford, and you go, play where he had struggled the last few years and turned it around in that second year. I'm excited to see what he does here in this third year.
Unless the only thing that might put them down even lower is if more players get caught for their gambling. So apparently they're having a gambling problem. We'll see.
It's Detroit, bro. There's only so much to do.
Yeah. All right. And that's it. That is it for that one. So moving on to our 13 to 15 wins. The first team we've got here is the Bengals. The Bengals got better. Flat out. They got better. They kept their core players around, and they beefed up their offensive line a little bit, and they're a Super Bowl contending team, one of my favorites, actually. So I think the Bengals will come out with 14, 15 wins and be one of the teams in the AFC Championship. I can see Miami. I can see the Chargers, the Bills, the Chiefs, but I think the Bengals will definitely be in that AFC Championship game.
I think the Bengals will represent the AFC.
The next here, we've got the Ravens. I think it was really good what they did to keep their core intact. They brought in a really good linebacker towards the end of last year. They finally got a few wide receivers for.
I mean, that was nice. Maybe you could have done that a minute ago.
Exactly. Lamar Jackson he can only do so much, but they finally brought in some talent at wide receiver for him. So I think the Ravens are going to be a really, really good team. I could maybe put them in the 12. You know what? In fact, I'm going to make one more shift. They have to play the Bengals twice. They have to play the Browns twice, the Saints twice. The Steelers so
twice.
I think they're a 12 win, maybe 13, but 12 is probably where they belong. 13 wins is a lot. You don't see 13, 14, 15 win teams very often anymore, it seems like.
It's like 2 or 3.
Yeah. So right next to the Bengals, it seems like this is an awesome new rivalry that is happening here. What were they calling Arrowhead, Burrowhead or something?
They were, because Burrow had beat Kansas City twice in a row, and he was really, and including in the playoffs the year before when they did go to the Super Bowl. So yeah, that's a great rivalry, and maybe the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL there.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that guy from the Eagles might have something to say about that.
I don't think we can put Hurts with Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow quite yet.
Not yet.
Maybe if he does it
he's done it 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to need to add a couple more years on so we know that he's going to be there forever. But, boy, he played so remarkably well in that Super Bowl in the entire year.
Now, the 49ers, probably the best team from a talent standpoint there is in the NFL. The only problem is the most important position in the NFL is quarterback, and that's probably their weakest position. I think Brock Purdy did something incredible last year, but it's not going to stick. He's got one of the best coaches in the NFL that put together a fantastic system, but Brock Purdy's going to have a huge drop off. In fact, hot take here, Leo, I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Darnold's their starting quarterback by the end of the year.
Really?
I think Trey Lance is a bust. I don't think.
I thought he was a bust too.
Yeah.
We'll see. Sometimes when you get injured and you have really some time to process and read defenses and understand the process and where to find that man-on-man mismatch, you come back and you can play well. So if you put that time in, yes, but based on what I saw when he did play,
and he's not looking good this preseason against Scouting. He's just not.
I didn't think he should have started over Garoppolo last year.
Yeah,
based on what I saw.
Shouldn't. So I do think but you look at it, they'll beat the Seahawks twice, they'll beat the Rams twice, they'll beat the Cardinals twice. There's 6 wins right there, right off the bat.
Do you think this is the 49ers' last real opportunity to get a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'd have to go look at some of their contracts, maybe 1 or 2 more years. Shanahan's just brilliant, so it's hard to say he won't continue to keep it where it's at. But, I mean, McCaffrey's only getting older, so Deebo Samuel George Kittle, right? These guys are definitely in their prime. It's time to go get a Super Bowl if you're going to do it. Yep. And that concludes the 13 to 15 win category.
I actually completely agree with this.
And the only team that I can see possibly getting that 16, 17 wins is the Eagles. They were probably the better team last year. I think
agree.
The Chiefs had a fantastic game plan and an awesome game. I think the Eagles were the better team. I think the Eagles have a significantly easier schedule. Granted, they do have to play everyone in the AFC East, so that's tricky. That's the one reservation with putting them up there, but they got better, right? They literally brought in a significantly better running back. They beefed up that interior defensive line. Like I could see the Eagles getting 16 wins and winning the Super Bowl.
I absolutely could too.
So
if I were a betting man, that would be my bet, that they're a 15, 16 win team and they breeze through the NFC. Depending on how the 49ers offense is, probably see the 49ers in the NFC Championship again, and then are able to get a close, tight win against the AFC opponent, which could be either Kansas City, Miami, or Baltimore.
You're right. The NFC's on lock. It's Philadelphia and San Francisco. No one else is. I think Detroit's close. I think Dak Prescott doesn't have it in him to get to that game. It's not going to happen for the Cowboys, in my opinion. They'll win some games, but they're not making a playoff run.
Dude, even Tony Romo, I mean, he was a great quarterback at Dallas, but kind of the same thing. He just never made it over the hump in the playoffs, and Dak, I see pretty similar.
Yeah, ownership problems.
There it is.
But there you have it. Those are our predictions. I'd love to know what you all think. Let's hear what you think in the comments. I'm sure we're going to have Cowboys and Jets haters because that's just how they are. Maybe some Raiders haters, but I think Raiders fans know they kind of suck at this point, so we may not hear it too much. But
I really was hoping that Josh McDaniels would kind of turn it around this second chance as a coach, but boy, I mean, they had all the talent in the world last year, and they couldn't do a damn thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. When you're firing your offensive coordinator because he scores too fast, you've got an ownership problem.
Kellen Moore is one of the bright young minds in this game. He's a future Sean McVay, in my opinion.
Yeah, go figure.